everybody, Janae here. I am coming to you with my November wrap up. I don't know if you noticed, but I did not do a November TBR. I don't really plan on doing TBRs for this channel, mainly because I like to kind of just be able to pick up a book and read it when I feel like it, as opposed to designating books for myself for the month. I know that I'm just the type of person that I will say I'm going to read these 6 books and then I'll read everything but those books just because I've told myself I have to. And so I look forward to doing these wrap-ups. I probably won't be doing TBRs, but yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and say that. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my wrap-up. I don't think it's going to be super long. I read, I think, 7 books this month. Yes, 7 books. I'm going to just show them to you and talk about them really quickly. So the first book I read in November was The Sweet Spot by Stephanie Ivanovich. I gave this book 3 stars. I kind of liked it. Like, I got through it. And I talked about it in my Booktoberfest haul. It's basically about a woman who owns a restaurant. She is a bit plus-sized. And she comes in contact with this athlete, and their relationship kind of goes from there. This book took a very unexpected spin, and normally I don't mind that because I don't like to know everything about a book when I'm going into it, but I don't know. I just think the way all of the information was presented was very abrupt, and it left me thinking of, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I read it, I finished it. I didn't really enjoy it that much. But I gave it 3 stars just because it was kind of a middle of the road read for me. Nothing super exciting. But if you read the synopsis or the blurb and you're interested, there's no, why not if you have it. I would get it from a library. I wouldn't buy it. But that's just my personal opinion on The Sweet Spot. So the next book that I read this month was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And so I gave this book 4 stars. It was really good. So it definitely is a book that you kind of have to push through, and it's a book that I think gets better with a reread. And I haven't fully reread the book yet, but I've gone through and read a few different passages, and I think the way the story is told, you do have to push through some things. It can feel boring. It can feel like, what exactly is happening here? But I do think that once you make it to the end, everything kind of wraps up and you understand what's happening. And again, it's worth a reread. I won't tell you much about this because I really do think it's best that you go in not knowing anything. But I do recommend this book. Just know that if you're anything like me, you might have to push through a little bit. But it was a really good story, and it made me think about a lot of things, and so I really appreciated this book. And yes, again, I gave it 4 stars. This is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. The next book that I have to show you all that I read this month is Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. It was just so good. It's mainly about this woman who suffers some kind of accident, and she is every day she wakes up forgetting most of her life, and she has to rely on her husband to tell her what's going on. And throughout the book, she starts to realize that maybe her husband isn't being entirely truthful to her. And that's all I will say about this. This is another one that I definitely don't want to spoil, but it was a really good book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just thought it was so well done. And then I watched the movie on Netflix, and I was so disappointed because I didn't like the movie at all. So this is a case where the book is definitely better than the movie, in case you were wondering. And so yes, that was Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. Pick it up if you like kind of like cerebral psychological thriller type books. This was great. Alright, so the next book that I read this month was The Vault of Dreamers. And if you've been with me for a little while, you know that I did a book talk on this book, and you know that I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I go into all of that and all of why in my review. So if you want to, go ahead and check that out. I will link it below. But this is mainly about a girl who goes to a school. It's a creative arts school. It's just sometime in the future. The school is like a reality TV show. You have to like be popular with the viewers to stay as a freshman, and then you're kind of cemented to be there, but they put the students to sleep for 12 hours because it's supposed to enhance creativity. But Rosie, our protagonist, basically figures out that not everything is as it seems at the school, and some crazy things are happening while the students sleep. And so this is kind of about her adventure figuring out what is happening. It was a really great book. I really enjoyed it. Again, I gave it 4.5 stars. And this is also kind of a psychological thriller, also kind of cerebral, young adult versus Before I Go to Sleep, which is an adult book. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think if psychological thrillers, if kind of things dealing with the mind and the way the mind works, if that's interesting to you, you will really enjoy this book. So again, The Vault of Dreamers by, I still haven't figured out how to say this name, but Miss O'Brien. It was a great book, so thanks. So the next book that I have to show you all is The Pledge by Kimberly Derting. But yeah, I really did like this book. It's about, a society where there are different class structures. Sorry, you can see my candle like flickering. Anyway, there are different classes, social classes, and they're separated from one another by their language. So different social classes speak different languages, and that really hinders communication between the different classes. You're also, if you're in a lower class and someone, not allowed to look them in the eye when they're talking to you. And so it's an interesting commentary on social class, on social structure, but also about revolution and kind of what comes with that and the cost of it and the people involved. But yes, this is The Pledge by Kimberly Derting, and I gave it 4 stars. So the next book that I have to show you all is Necessary Lies by Diane Chamberlain. So I actually just filmed a book discussion or review for this book. It was great. I gave it 5 stars. Easily the best thing I read this month in November. It was just really good. Again, I did a book talk for it. I will probably put this up before the book talk, so I won't link it. But it is coming. I just filmed it. I just have to edit it. But this was great. It was about the voluntary and involuntary sterilization of thousands of human beings that happened in North Carolina and across much of our country, but went on for a lot longer in North Carolina than most places. And it's really just about who deserves to have agency over their lives, and when you are put in a position of authority over someone, how do you advocate for them if you don't truly know them, if you can't humanize them? And it was set in 1960 in North Carolina. The descriptions are vivid, the characters are real, the plot just kind of hits you in the face. 5-star book. I really enjoyed it. Again, the best thing I read this month. And that is Necessary Lies by Diane Chamberlain. So the last book that I read this month that I finished is called The Chosen One, and this is by Carol Lynch Williams. This book I rated 4 stars. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. It's about a 13-year-old girl who grows up in a polygamous family. So her dad has 3 wives. They have about 20 kids. She has 20 brothers and sisters. And they're very secluded off into where they are. And she just kind of has questions about her life, about the lives of people who live outside of their kind of compound area, and whether this is the right choice for her. And I think the straw kind of breaks, this isn't a spoiler, it's on the blurb, when it is somehow decreed that she is to marry her 60-year-old uncle. And that just kind of sets off a whole new set of circumstances for her, and makes her more desperate to just learn about things that happen outside of the world that she's grown up in. I thought this was a great book. It is not a book that is super wrapped up at the end. You do get kind of resolution for the largest plot point, but a lot of it does go unresolved. But I thought the ending of the book was super realistic. I thought it was well done. The book was well written. I never imagined that I could put myself into the mind of a 13-year-old girl who lives in a polygamous family, just because it's not at all my experience. But I was really in her head. I was riveted by her story and just the way that she saw things. Her voice was super authentic. I really, really did enjoy this book. And so yeah, 4 stars for me, and that is The Chosen One Again by Carol Lynch Williams. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you are interested in any of the books, let me know. You've seen me haul several of them. And so yeah, I really enjoyed making this video. Thank you so much for being here. You didn't have to be, you don't have to spend your time here with me, and you have done so anyway. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to let you all go. Have a great day, week, weekend, whatever, insert amount of time here. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.